How can I, struggle? How can I get by? And I had this overwhelming desire to solve this problem of single motherhood. Yeah, easy, right? And I was convinced that the problem lied in we are asking the wrong questions. The right question is not, how can I get a fourth minimum wage paying job? The right question is, how can I become the kind of woman who earns a $250,000 salary, who provides value in this world, who heals through everything she's been through that has tested her self-worth, and she emerges this woman of, incredible worth. So this idea of success in single parenthood for me revolves around this idea of we must take on the designer's mindset. And when we take on the designer's mindset, the world is our oyster. We can start figuring out, who are we really? I'm the kind of woman who reads 2 books a month or a book a week. I'm the kind of woman who, eats properly and takes care of herself. I'm the kind of woman who can pause and find grounding in a moment of disconnect. So that's the idea of redesign, is this understanding that at any moment, at any second of every day, we can choose to design the reality that's ahead of us, despite everything. And we're going to talk about these things because resistance is the story of our lives. And it's how we handle those resistances that allows us to emerge.
That is beyond beautiful, beyond beautiful. And I love the fact that you get to redesign, so you get to rebuild yourself. And I do think that it's very hard, especially as moms or single moms, when you have a picture of how you thought your life would be, and then when the reality kind of shows you that, girl, this ain't it. This is your reality. And I think sometimes a lot of moms lock themselves in their head, like this isn't happening, and you're not actually living life, you're coasting through life. And when you coast through life, it damages the car. Wait,
let's stop there. When you coast through life, it damages the car. I love it. It's like, and we're Ferrari engines, so nothing makes a Ferrari more pissed off if it's doing like in a school zone, like you know what I mean, if it's coasting at a 30. And that's how we feel because, just like you said, to reiterate that point, we've had these expectations that, a family should be, a successful family is a mother, a father who is the breadwinner, and the mother is super happy and she drinks lattes and she looks like a supermodel, and this is who we need to be. And then when we're faced with the reality of, oh, wait a second, this isn't my reality, something is wrong with me. So they say that pain is the distance between your expectations and what you got. Because we're all comparing, right? We're comparing from who we are to everybody else, to our neighbor, to the Instagram, you know what I mean? To the curated post that everybody wants us to see. And we're miserable as a result because we think we're not worthy, or, we did something wrong at some point to be, going through so much struggle. So I think our journey as single moms and single parents is to reframe this in a way where we can have an empowering meaning so that we can then, live into who we're supposed to be.
Brilliant. So that leads on kind of to my first question.
Yes.
So what does intention mean when it comes to personal growth? Because like you've just mentioned, we can see the reality, we can see what we want, but then intentionally stepping towards reimagining where you want to be now, redesigning where you want to be now. What does intention mean? Like, how can you carry on cooking up that zeal to keep going?
Okay, so here is, again, that's such a simple question, right? Not really. So imagine who we are as people. You, by virtue of what you're doing and what you've created, me, by virtue of what I'm creating, everybody who's on this call who knows that there's a next level, right? They know that this isn't their movie. They know that they're meant for more, whether they're starting their journey and they don't know how they're going to pay their bill, or if they've, developed some major entrepreneurial company and they're making $1 million a year, but their health is declining. So this is, for everyone on this journey, no matter who we are, by virtue of being here, we have chosen what I like to call the road less traveled. So the road less traveled, we hate the fact that we have problems. We hate the fact that we have resistances that come in our life. But we all know, we don't read biographies of women who were handed the keys to the Jag and then just coasted in life, right? We read biographies of women who have gone through, as Marianne Williamson says, through hell and back. Right? Those are the women we are becoming. So again, the intention, and even yesterday we were talking about the idea of initiation too. The intention is that, yes, I am here to be great. I am faced with these resistances in my life so that they can make me great. They are something that I planted here. I put it here out of love. Or if you believe in God, you can say the creator, God, this perfect being that gave me eyes that I didn't have to buy and a heart that I didn't have to earn. What are we going to say? Like, they made a mistake? Sorry, creator, you've screwed up here. Change this so that I can be comfortable. No, this was put in my path so that I could become a great woman. So with, again, this idea of intention, to walk with the intention of, what standards we hold for ourselves, who we are as women, how we're going to show up, how we're going to parent our children, but then coupled with this idea of initiation, that we've been initiated. Well, what is this initiation? I kind of feel like, I don't know if you, in the UK, you played Super Mario.
We don't know. You lot have like the Kappa, the alphas. No, we don't do that over here.
No, Super Mario Brothers.
We don't.
Okay, you had Super Mario Brothers.
Luigi,
So you remember how like Super Mario Brother at the end of, or Luigi at the end of every level, they had to like fight this like demon and then they leveled up?
They
Okay.
leveled up.
That's single motherhood. Single motherhood is getting from level 6 to level 7. That's the demon. It's to make us strong, right? So our goal, the intention of the path forward, this idea of initiation, it's scary. Look, it's scary to step into something new that we've never done, that's dangerous. Our nervous systems, we are clinging to what's familiar. We're working against 500 million years of evolution that was designed to keep us alive, not for us to live our best life. So we all want to kind of stay in this cave because it's dangerous. The saber-toothed tiger can eat us and our children, right? But we need to be able to step out of this stuckness where we find ourselves, step into something uncomfortable, and do it with certainty. So when we go from uncertainty, like, I don't know what's out there, this single parenthood thing, I'm not quite sure, but when we can step into it with certainty, that's our initiation. That's the intention that we need to hold with us as we go on this journey, and that's how we become successful, in my humble opinion, having been doing this for 14 years.
Oh, that's awesome. And please, guys, drop some likes, because you're dropping a lot of gems. And I've said this, I had a keynote speaking engagement on Saturday, and I was saying that I looked at the study, and it was saying that women are less likely to apply for jobs that they are not 100% qualified for, in comparison to men that would only apply for jobs that they're 60% qualified for.
Isn't that gross?
It's disgusting, but I feel like when we speak about intention, what has really helped me is investing in a lot of audacity. And I think that what I have found with a lot of single moms when I have my coaching calls is that if you are a single mom, if you have left your relationship or decided that you're going to go at it alone, or decided that this isn't for me and I'm going to reimagine how I'm going to raise my child alone, despite what society says. That is the biggest badass thing any woman can do. So what else can you not do?
Oh my God, Khalifa, like, you have no idea. We have, as part of our platform, we have a recruiter who comes on live and helps the women rewrite their resumes live, and she'll go through them. And you'd be surprised, like, these are exceptional women. So, for example, we have a lovely woman who, like, she was like, I've been raising kids for years, and you can kind of read in her resume that she was, but then you read, I'm like, education, master's in criminology, master's, like, these are extraordinary women. And we put these limitations. And I mean, look, I've been working at this for years. And when I saw my mentor, by profession, for those of you who don't know, I'm a chartered financial analyst. So I have the CFA designation. I essentially analyze stocks. That's what I do, or what I used to do before I left capital markets to try to change the world for single parents. But
could you let them know what you have accomplished in regards to the ladies on your platform? Because you are a big deal.
You have no idea. No idea. We have these women who, a lot of whom have, I don't want to say been traumatized by money, but look, we have been traumatized by money. My money trauma was when my ex told me that if I ever went after child support, he would tell the judge I was so stupid with money I couldn't support my kid. So I was a singer living in Manhattan. So I didn't know anything about money. And the trauma in my brain was like, if only you were smarter with money, this wouldn't have happened to you. So that's my money trauma. We all have the money trauma of being afraid to open bills. Look, the biggest one, money destroys families. How, if that is your experience of money, how do you think you're going to make money? Because you don't want it subconsciously, because it's evil. So what we've done with our girls is, so look, I'm a financial analyst. I know I know everything. I know more than most about stocks and bonds and portfolio, design. But I realized in talking with a lot of people who had money trauma like I did, I actually had to get a hypnotherapy certification. I had a certification in design thinking, because our trauma runs so deep that you can teach anyone sophisticated or unsophisticated financial acumen till you're blue in the face. If they don't want to hear it because it's traumatized them, they will not receive it. So we essentially teach very, very basic diversification. This is what an exchange traded fund is. But what we do is we have to hit us, all of us, for anyone listening, you have to start identifying as an investor. And when you identify as an investor, your nervous system is like, oh, this investment world is safe. So I am then safe to take the next steps. So all you need to do is you need to buy one ETF. Could be anything. It could be the S&P 500. It could be, you name it. It could be the top companies in the UK. You buy one, and when you buy one, your identity is as I'm an investor.
Yeah.
And the whole world changes. You start wondering, like, why am I not getting a raise? Maybe I should level up in my career. I'm not being valued. You start seeing things in value. Yeah. So, we're so used to being torn down, which has been a lot of our experience, myself included. I speak from huge trauma. And again, 14 years of work. So I don't say this because I'm in my ivory tower somewhere. No. I struggle with this every day. And it's, we all do. It's a work in progress. So, where in your life, here's a question for everybody. And I'll, again, use myself as an example. I saw my mentor a few months ago. I left my job in capital markets and I thought, you know what, maybe I want to do something in advisory to sort of complement what I'm doing here. And my salary was in the low hundreds, call it, for my main job. And she sent me a job application, and it was for a $500,000 salary.
Wow.
And right away, I'm just like, no, that's not for me. I'm not qualified for this. But this is, again, I've been working on this crap for 14 years. But I'm like, no. And she's like, why? According to whose law are you not qualified for this job? And I'm like, damn it, all the stuff I'm teaching my girls about...
You have to pour into yourself.
Needless to say, I didn't get the job. I wasn't quite qualified. But like you say, a man could have 60% of the credentials to run this, you know what I mean? But me, just because I'm anchoring my previous salary to like, oh, okay, maybe I can do 10,000 higher, maybe, in here. Who am I not to reach for the $500,000 salary? Really?
Yeah.
And
we have to invest in audacity, and I think that this 2025 is the best time to pivot. Like, this is the best time for any mom to pivot. Like, if you want to earn more, go for it. The worst that people could say to you is no, and you wouldn't have got the no anyway if you didn't just apply, if you didn't try that business out, if you didn't go ahead. So it's limiting beliefs, and I think that once you start, like you mentioned earlier, in regards to investing, even however much, just once you start trusting yourself again, you start. And I think that's the thing, that once you kind of intentional and you are focused about your personal growth, you then start trusting the process. And I think that's the problem. It's that you don't trust don't trust the parachute to actually to help you land safely. But how would you know you can fly unless you jump?
I know. Again, we've been told, many of us, that we're stupid. We've been told that we should just be moms. And a lot of the times we've been told by well-meaning people in our life. And I see this a lot in the single mom community, because unfortunately it's a generational thing. Right? Yes. If you're raised by a poor single mom, a lot of the time you become a poor single mom. And I remember speaking to a beautiful woman a few years back, and I just said, you know what, you'd make a great EA, fantastic EA. And she's like, oh, my family would be like, who do you think you are? You're so important. And it's because our doing something for us to shine, we kind of feel like we need to dim our glow for those around us, because then they won't like us. They'll think, oh, who are you to do this? What do you think you're so important? You know what I mean? So ask yourself, where in your life are well-meaning people limiting you, and to your thing is like, you just got to take the job. Well, okay. How many times in life have you taken a chance on yourself, failed, and then regretted it? about as many times as you've gone to the gym and had a workout and then regretted it after.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we don't regret the things we've tried and failed. We regret the things we didn't try.
Yes. Oh, that's a word.
Right? Like, I'm proud if I do something, like, you know, in my experience in building this community, and in maybe my ignorance, I thought, yeah, the second we go live, everyone will see the value and everybody will want to be a part of it. And it's been a slog for me. It's been hard. But I've been pivoting and learning about myself. And in fact, through this platform and my desire to grow this platform, it forced me to go deep within myself. And again, I say this about myself, but I don't mean myself. I mean all of you.
Yeah.
I started wondering, where do I not see my own value? Because I'm giving away everything for free. It's not being received, you know, and I'm feeling drained. So what a lesson for all of us to understand where our value is and what we have to show the world. And I've made myself very clear that, look, I have sophisticated financial acumen to the point where I can legally, you know, testify in court against a financial matter. So I have a qualification in terms of education, but I also know what it's like to be that poor single mom who's afraid to open a bill. So I feel like I'm very uniquely qualified to help a woman who was afraid to open a bill or is afraid to open a bill, and for me to take her hand and say, my love, I will walk with you through this, because nothing is more important to me, or nothing, like I get goosebumps just now thinking about it, and I want to cry when I think of women showing me their portfolios, and they can even say, I can say the word portfolio. I didn't even think that was a word. I thought that was just something rich people say on Succession. You know what I mean? Like on TV. But to say that I have a portfolio and to have that agency, to me, that's like the greatest feeling in the world. Fantastic.
That's amazing. And I think that from everything you said, like I had a workshop on Monday, and it was called New Year, New Money, New Me, completely free. Yeah, completely free for my wonderful ladies. And we had around 320 click-throughs, 28 sign-ups, and do you know how many people joined? 3.
I was going to say.
Yeah,
now
3.
let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Because
So my thing is, that's my question. Like, why do you think that there's so much resistance? Because I think that is what there is, because it's free. It's free.
I know.
You know, the information is there. And sometimes, and when I used to have sessions with my financial advisor and stuff like that, he would say to me, look, you are doing this to yourself when it comes to your finances. You know, like, we have the information there. If you are financially strapped, create an emergency fund. If you need to make more money, try and find a side hustle. If you want to invest in your children's future, invest in an ISA for them, you know, in stocks for them. So all the information is there. Why is there so much resistance?
You're speaking my language. Now I can get on my soapbox, because this gets me so hot under the collar. You have no idea.
Yeah.
And I can see it. I can see it. Again, my background is behavioral finance. I study how the mind works in relation to money and value and this and that. So number one, when we don't pay attention. That's it. That's the big one.
I shouldn't have done it for free.
Yeah, and no, you shouldn't. And that's the thing that I'm learning, because you believe, and I like, okay, again, I'm going to fully get in there with you. I had a woman, so we do legal talks. We have a Supreme Court of Canada lawyer who comes on once a month and coaches. She can't give independent legal advice, but she, in a coaching capacity, comes on. I often go into the self-litigation groups and offer this call. But I offer it, and I say, if you could join our mailing list, because that's how I communicate with everybody. This woman, I was offering it to her for free. She got on me with this vitriol, very upset. She goes to me, you know, if you're not doing everything for free, you're not helping single moms. Oh yeah. And she was a real estate agent. So I felt like I didn't let it bother, like it did bother me, but I didn't let, you know, I didn't go there. But I felt like saying, do you honestly want to help people find homes? Because if you do, you shouldn't be taking a commission. Like, it's the same idea. So when you do things for free, they don't show. And here's an example, and I'll use this example till I'm blue in the face, because it illustrates this point beautifully. You have a gym membership. Let's say you have 2, gym membership A, gym membership B. They are identical. The same location, the same trainer, the same program. Everything is the same. This one is free. This one is $500 a month. You don't go. because it's free. You go every day and change your body because you think to yourself, I've paid for this, I value it, I've put my money where this area, I'm support to me, and your body transforms. Which one is more valuable?
500.
Of course, because you do it. How many free things has anyone signed up for that they haven't done? You know, like there's so many. So you and I both, we give from our hearts because we feel, so you and I have gone through hell and back, that thing.
Yeah.
And we feel like we've learned something along the way. And we want so much to share what we've learned. We want to, you know, if we can help, like I always say, if I could help one woman condense her journey from 10 years to 10 months, all of my pain is worth it. And if I can do that, it gives me value. So here you go, take everything for free, like a hose spewing information. When they haven't prepared their vessel, now we're getting spiritual, but they haven't prepared their vessel to receive that information.
Yeah.
And how do you prepare your vessel to receive? You invest, because you're signaling that this is where you want to put your, you know, what's the, I think Ramit Sethi, I don't know if you guys have that in the UK, he does this book and the Netflix, I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
Yeah, I've watched it, yeah.
And he says, I could know what is important to someone by looking at their bank statement.
Oh, my
You know,
God.
isn't that beautiful? Like it's not a bad thing, but I mean, if you were to look at my bank statement last year, just to give you an idea, so I have a hypnotherapist who's actually online for our platform. She teaches, but I see her privately too. She's $350 an hour. I have a functional health doctor. I spent, I'm embarrassed to say, on seminars. I spent last year $40,000 on seminars.
Oh my God.
Okay.
On seminars, sis.
Yeah, I know. But they've changed my life. They've really changed my life. So that's what I teach. That's where I pull from. I take all of this information. I read voraciously. They call me the encyclopedia sometimes in our group because I read so much. Because for me, it's again, remember that girl that was told she was too stupid?
Yeah.
That same girl consumed information like it was an eating disorder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just had to find it.
And that's the thing that kind of saddens me, especially with like free resources. I completely agree with everything that you said, but I know when there were times years ago when I couldn't afford, you know, coaching calls, $500 coaching calls, $5,000 coaching calls, or even a therapist. I couldn't afford certain things, and I would consume free resources, anything that I could see that would help me, even down to social media, learning how to post, learning what to reels, showing up online. Like I absolutely grabbed anything that was free, and then got the skills and poured back out. So that's why I feel like if I know something, I'm going to tell everybody like this is it. And I saw something on YouTube that was a guy, he's a millionaire, and he was saying that the reason why I tell people my strategies because I know there would only be 1% of people that would actually implement it. So it's not even about about like telling people things. It's about whether people actually implement it, but it's about access as well. So if I can make something accessible, try and grab it. Your platform is amazing. My platform is amazing. Try and grab the resources that are readily available to you. So and I want to talk about, that will be my next question as well, actually, in regards to the new year, new me that we all...
want to do.
That we all jump on. So, like, why do you think that new year, new me sometimes is unsustainable? And why do you think that I think somebody said it within Jan, like we break our own New Year's resolution.
Oh yeah, I do the same thing. I'm at least aware of why I'm doing it. But look, I'm doing it too. Well, okay, there's a lot of, honestly, there's like so much that it's just such a complicated but I'm going to try to hit it from angles that mean something from a single parent, because it's been my experience. And from our talking, I know it's yours too. So a New Year's resolution, let's use an example. I am going to wake up at 6 a.m. every day and do a high intensity interval training workout. That's who I'm going to be. But yet, all your life as a child and as a parent with an abusive, partner, you've been told that you're lazy. So much so that laziness, I am lazy, I'm not doing enough, I'm not a good wife, I'm not this, I failed my marriage. All of these things are identity. So if you identify as someone who's lazy doesn't wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and work out. Just like a vegetarian or a vegan or a vegetarian
Yeah.
they could be starving, but put a hamburger in front of them, they're not going to eat it. Why? Because their identity is, no, I'm a vegan. So
Yeah.
we need to change this idea of New Year's resolutions. I hate the idea of like, goals are great, but you need to sort of pack stuff around a goal. So in our group in January, of course, this has been the theme, this idea of resistance, this idea of being extraordinary, this idea of setting goals and who we are meant to be, who the identity we're creating underneath. So instead of, and we did this in our hypnosis session. So again, if anyone in the group, write down hypno and I can send you the whole session that we did for New Year's with Caitlin. I'll send it all to you, the entire thing. We said instead of setting resolutions, what if instead we set standards for ourselves? And I know this is you because I mean, like, I know your life. so your standards are pretty high, right? And if yeah, like you just have high standards for yourself. And I know when we talk, like I said, I feel like I level up after conversations because we don't know each other that well, but we know each other well enough that we've called each other and had a conversation.
Yeah.
Your standards for me, even as like a new friend, are high. So I gravitate to that friendship because I want women that hold me to high standards, right? So instead of resolutions, which again fail by January, what did they say, February like 12th or something? Like it's something. Yeah, think of a compass. What standards are you willing to have in your life? And that, you know, use that as your guiding light. And then one other thing, because I think it's very poignant, very poignant for the single mom community. Where in your life are there competing desires? So, for example, I want to, what's common for a single mom, I want to earn a lot of money this year and I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to finally do it and I'm going to put myself out there. But yet in your subconscious, you're afraid to be seen.
Yeah.
You're afraid to, you know, you've been conditioned to believe that a mother stays home with her children and is with them all the time, right? Yeah. Well, the very thing that you're going for, that's entrepreneurial thing, your nervous system isn't letting you do it because it's going danger, danger, danger. You're going to have to put yourself out there. That's scary. So that's a competing desire, like super, super common. Think of security versus freedom. You know, again, you want to think of a job. I like the security of a 9 to 5, but I want the freedom of, you know, entrepreneur. But yet it's going to force me to take a risk. So go into these desires that you have, kind of toggle with them. Ask yourself, is one competing against another, right? So like privacy versus visibility. Yeah, I want to go off and do this crazy thing. I want to be a singer. Like I used to be a singer in Manhattan. But yet you value your privacy. Well,
you can't. It's an oxymoron.
Yeah. So the way to start untangling that is you want to ask yourself what's underneath. Why do I want to do this? Is it for a need for significance? Is it a need for love? Is it a need for security? Is it like, what is it for? Is it healthy? And is it conducive to who I want to show up as? And then the next step is you want to think of integrating these two competing desires. And I'll give you an example because I think a lot of us are doing the same thing. When I was putting myself through a finance degree, it was very expensive. And I was working a full-time job. I had my kid in downtown Toronto, which is similar to like UK prices in New York. Very, very expensive. And I thought, oh my God, I need a side hustle. So I started making neon signs on Etsy, right? Like, as one does. And my son did it with me. My son learned the entrepreneurial sort of thing and he did it with me and he posed with the pictures of the neon signs and he was all into it, you know? So there we go. Like I shattered that dichotomy right there by thinking I can integrate this time with my child and make this a project that we can always remember. And he's 14 now and we're like, oh yeah, those neon signs. Like you can see the art behind me. Like I love neon. So yeah, so that's just, again, think of competing desires in your life. I love that in terms of why are we not doing our resolutions? Because the very thing that I want is usually the thing I need to heal. There you go, ladies. The thing you want most, ask yourself, what is it with this thing? Why do I want it? It's because inherently the thing that I want is the thing I need to heal within myself. Do you have any idea how scared I was to come like a year ago to speak live and to have people see me? I was terrified. Our first calls was just like me and another girl. And I would just show up every week because I'm like, no, I need to get the reps in. I was terrified.
Yeah.
Right? We just got to do it.
It's scary. I think we should just do it afraid. Do it afraid. And I think that even down to New Year's resolutions as well.
Yeah.
sometimes people put it down because they know they're going to fail, and then that failure then reinforces that identity kind of thing. So you're setting yourself up to fail. But in an actual fact, it's just about the fact that you desire that thing. For me anyway, I'm speaking to myself as I say it. So the fact that you desire that thing, for me, means that you've already attained it somewhere.
Yeah, you're spiritual.
So you've already attained it. So all you need to do is carry on pushing and just carry on. And the thing is, I watch things on like YouTube and TikTok and stuff, and I see like do you know, like car crashes or something, and it's so sad, but I'll see like a car crash and the baby's in the back seat, and the mother from nowhere, I don't know how, she gets the strength to yank that door off its handles and grab her child. Someone's trying to kidnap a child, for example, and the mother's there. She's managed to tussle that. So we have everything built on the inside of us.
You do. Yeah, it's there. We have that.
It's just about knowing that, all right, cool, the world is crazy, your ex might be crazy, whatever it is, but the biggest fight you're going to have to fight is yourself.
100%.
Once you're ready
100%.
to fight that, the internal critic and become your own cheerleader, girl, there's nothing you can't do. And that's not to say that everything's just going to be fantastic and wonderful.
We don't want it to be.
You're going to face resistance. You understand? You are going to face resistance. But the thing is, you have to know, and what saved my life as a single mom is I, instead of having sad months and sad years, I allocated time to have my pity parties.
So good. So good. Oh my God.
Pity parties. So I would say, I wanted to go for something, it didn't happen, or I'm upset. Okay, this weekend is my pity party. I will cry, I will eat chocolate, and even my son would be like, "Mommy, you okay?" But look, Mommy's not very happy at the moment, so I'm just taking time out. And he's mirrored that behavior. Like, "Mommy, I'm upset at the moment, so can I have some time, please?"
Yeah.
We have to know that we have to. Even when you watch war movies, they retreat.
Yeah.
They throw the white flag, and then they retreat, and then they come back and they fight again.
Yeah.
So know that in this life, what we do, we put down our New Year's resolutions, and we don't factor in resistance.
Yeah.
We don't factor in stress. We don't factor in days where we have burnout, or days whereby your desires look like a job, and you want to sack your own boss, which is yourself.
Yes.
So we have to factor in BS, because BS is inevitable.
But okay, Khalifa, you said something I think that you don't realize that you said in terms of how profound it is. So I really want to underscore this for everybody listening. You said that you gave yourself a pity party.
Yeah.
Let's think about this for a second. You changed the entire paradigm of your suffering from I'm going to react, not thinking, because this hurts me and I'm going to react, to taking a creator's point of view. I am going to create this time to honor my suffering. So you've now come out of the reactive state of mind and you've pushed into a creative state of mind. And for those of you with any sort of spiritual, or, you know what I mean? Like I assume most of us here are, because that's how we get through. We believe that there's something better for us. And if there isn't, then my view is I'd rather believe that there is, because it makes it more, like fun along the way.
Yeah.
But like really, really take a note. Like you have to be the kind of woman who sits with a sister and holds her hand and says, look, I know, my love, this is tough. And, if we've been through, God forbid, like the loss of a child or the loss of this relationship that, we thought was going to be, you need to take some time to grieve. You need to take the 6 months. You need to take an appropriate, it's not the same amount of time of like, okay, whatever, I lost my job that I hated, right? You have to find an appropriate amount of time to grieve. And then you have to say, okay, fine, I think I'm done. I think the time, and like you say, set a time to grieve. And then you just move along. Like, you know that everything, again, like we said, you don't read biographies of like people who never had struggle. It's the hero's journey. There's a reason we watch these movies.
Definitely.
That's
and
who
even
we
if
are.
you look at like as well, like I remember when my son was, because our kids are the same age, 14. So I remember when my son was teething, And my mother said to me, like, you can't carry on carrying the baby. He's going to get too used to it, And anytime he would fall over, she would be like, no, you have to let him figure it out. Or you have to let him. And sometimes God puts things in front of us and we have to figure it out. Like, we can't always pick up the phone and call our friends and be like, oh my God, girl. Do you know what happened? You understand? Like, we have to learn how to, the same way a child would wean, self-soothe. Because there's gonna be BS.
But wouldn't it be funny? Like, okay, think we all came into this world as like beautiful children, right? With those chubby little thighs, and we pooped our diapers and like all these things.
And the baby smell.
And the smell like baby powder, and we knew that we were worthy of love, even though like we smelt like crap and like all these things, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be like, you don't have a baby who's learning to walk and then they fall and then they stand up and then they fall. They're like, oh, you know what? Sorry, too hard. Not a walker. Not a walker here. I'm just gonna crawl for the rest of my life. Sorry. That's who I am.
That's the word.
We've become that. And I'm not saying, like, again, a lot of us have become that for good reason. We've been abused. And not that that's okay. And I'm not saying, like I'm saying, lick your wounds. Don't, I'm not demeaning, I'm not diminishing serious abuse that we've gone through. But at the same time, don't give what really helped me, honestly, I gave my ex way too much energy in my head for way too long. And I realized that energy is finite. We can either choose our energy to commiserate on everything we've been through and our exes and how we've been wronged and how we're poor and how all of these things, or we can take that same amount of energy and direct it to our personal growth, into helping, into becoming better people. We can't do both at the same time. So catch yourself at any given moment. And it's by virtue of catching yourself that, oh, I'm spiraling into this doom spiral. And look, again, I do it every day probably, but I've become very good at catching myself. Like, oh yeah, that's not serving me. So let's just delete, bing, like goodbye thought, sorry. So,
I love that. And what you've just said is profound as well, actually, because I realize that I get to pick my thoughts. I think women, I think it's like 3,000 thoughts a minute. I might be wrong. So if anyone
some crazy
can just quickly Google it or check ChatGPT or something like that. But you get to pick your thoughts. And I realized that I was tormenting myself when I think I left work one day and I was at the station walking home and I was thinking, oh, if anything happened to me, what would happen to my son? Where would he go? Blah, blah. And from the walk from the station to my house, I had planned my whole funeral. I had seen people grieve. And then when I got to my door, I was like, this Khalifa. I was like, what? Like, you have bought a ticket for a ride that you did. And I was so saddened.
I love that you planned your funeral. That's crazy.
Yeah. I was so sad. I was like, why did you buy this ticket? And I realized that we have a choice when you are living your life as a single mom, and or if your child does something bad at school and the teacher calls you, it's not a reflection of you. It can be for certain people, but it's not always a reflection of you. Sometimes kids can just act up. Yeah. But you start thinking in your head internally, oh, it's because his dad's not around, or maybe it's something that I'm doing, or let me go on the Googler. Do you understand? So my thing is that pick your thoughts, because it can make or break you. Because what happens is that if you carry on staying in that negative thought process, it has a rippling effect.
Yes, because spiral. Stacking.
Your thoughts become reality. Yeah, your thoughts become reality. Like, even down to the job that you could be applying for. If you think, oh no, it's too much out of my tax bracket, I might not get it. You've already put that out there. Not that, do you know what, whatever is meant to be will be. So we have to learn how to really be intentional. And I know we spoke about intentionality at the beginning, but intentional about our thoughts. But what I want to ask you actually is, like, what practical steps can someone take to align their goals? So that would be like one of my final questions. Like, what practical steps? Like, what do I need to do, girl?
Okay.
Like, what?
To align your goals with your true self. I'm just going to take a little bit of time and ask if anybody's watching, because I'm going to ask you too, Khalifa. If anyone's watching, like, if you have a pencil or a pen, and just write this down. I'm going to ask you a few questions. So, Khalifa, the first thing we want to do, what do you value? So think of, like, in terms of health, right now in your life, at this point. It doesn't have to be, like, forever, but today, this year, 2025, what do you value as a person? Think health, adventure, passion, freedom, significance. Like, what do you think those things are? Just top 3. Don't think too hard.
What do I value? I value my relationship with God, number 1. I value
faith.
my faith, my community, and my child and my community.
Okay, so faith, child, community. Now the next step, so for anyone else doing this, you want to order them, and I think that you've done this, order them in order of importance. So you've got your faith first, then your child, because you believe that when you have your faith, everything else falls into place.
Everything, God is good. Yes,
so
Jesus.
I'm starting to know, you're starting to understand what your values are here and who you are as a human by doing this exercise. So for example, if anyone watching, for example, if your values are love, freedom, and adventure, right? Love being first, freedom next, adventure next. This person will show up very differently than someone who is adventure first, then freedom, and then love. And then you ask yourself, look, if you value freedom more than love, why is your love life suffering? Like, again, we can tweak things. So I would say make that list, then ask yourself, what are the goals I'm working on? What are my resolutions? And do they align with that list? So again, we're talking about aligning goals. What we're working on, is it congruent with who we are as people? If it's not congruent with who we are as people, they're going to be like two magnets that they don't quite match. You need to align the goals with who you are as people. Then after you figure that out, then I do this every year, so I'm happy to, I love sharing this with you. Then you have to ask yourself your why. Why do you want this? So for example, if health is on one of my top ones. So for example, I could say I value health. Why? Because I want to be healthy. Okay. Then you ask yourself, but why do you want to be healthy? Do 5 of these. Well, I want to be healthy because I want to be around for my child and his children when I'm older. Okay. Well, why do you want to do that? I'm like, well, because my dad wasn't healthy and he died when this isn't true, I'm just making this up. He died when I was 6. Oh, okay, well now your why becomes more compelling. I don't want to leave my child without a parent is a much stronger why than I want to be healthy. So when
you attach an emotion to
you attach your reason why. Why am I doing this? What is so important to you? For me, dying and not being there for my child is a stronger motivator than I want to be healthy, right? Yeah. So whatever it is for you, it's different for everyone. You need to find out what the why is. And then what you want to do is you've got your why, visualize yourself as the person who's achieved these goals. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, and imagine what your life looked like backwards. So imagine if you're, let's say, 30 years old and your goal is to, write a screenplay and win an Oscar, what have you, okay? You imagine yourself winning that Oscar when you're 50, and then you imagine everything that you needed to do to achieve that. And then you actually pencil those things into your schedule and you actually do them. And then the last thing, or actually there's 2 more, you want to surround yourself by women or men or a community that are actually doing the thing. Come on, if you want to be healthy, but all of your friends are overweight and eat Netflix and smoke weed, really watch your group here.
You can't be an eagle hanging out with chickens.
Exactly, right? So hang out with, watch personal growth. Like you said, you curated your Instagram in a way that every time you open it, it's not doom scrolling. It's oh my God, this is profound. That's what you want to surround yourself with. And so make sure you curate your friend group carefully. And then lastly, I would say, and you're queen of this, and I know you're going to agree with this, do something that scares you every single day towards the achievement of that goal. So just to summarize, we've got the values, we know who we are, what's important to us, we've got our goals, we've now made them match so that they're congruent, so that they stick together. We've connected to the reason why we're doing it, we've imagined ourselves, we know what it feels like, we've we wrote the timeline, and then we connected to a community of people that are doing it, who hold us to high standards, right? I think it's a good plan. And it's so easy. It's so easy.
Girl, I cannot wait to have our TED Talk together. I cannot wait.
I cannot wait to have a sleepover in the UK. I'm coming over. I'll bring the popcorn.
Yes, everyone's trying to leave the UK. You want to come? Oh, gosh.
We're going to hang out in Dubai, actually. I want to hang out with you in Dubai.
Yes, let's hang out in the sun. But honestly, this has been such... it's been so many gems. And ladies, I really hope that you have taken notes. The best podcast, look at that.
Aw, thanks.
The best podcast, awesome. I really hope that you've taken it. And I would love us to do this again.
Yeah, let's do it regularly.
We're talking about pivoting and the New Year's resolution, but I think that like tapping into the mindset shift that we need to make, especially as single moms, and being unapologetic of trying to get a promotion or leveling up. Like I think that it would really bless people. And I had a discussion with my friend a couple of days ago, and I was saying, I wonder what it is when you're in a car, sending you to love. Yeah, I wonder what it is when you're in a car and you are driving and there's so much traffic, and then when you get to where the traffic is, there's like a car crash, for example, and people are really slowing down to see the mess.
We all want to slow down to see the mess.
Yeah, it's just slow down to see the mess. And what happens is that everyone that's behind doesn't know what's going on at the front. Yeah. And I think that as single moms, everything that we have gone through emotionally, the car crashes, if you do not speed ahead and stop slowing down and looking at the mess, you don't realize that your freedom is delaying other people behind you.
Yes. I love this. Yeah. Khalifa, can I take 3 minutes to share a story about just that?
Okay, go on.
Do we have 3 minutes? Okay. So again, this is the design thinking perspective and how we pivot with how do you design your way out of a mess? So again, why this, I feel it's important because you're talking about the car crash. When we see sirens behind us, what do? We pull over to the side.
Yeah.
We wait for it to pass, and then we continue along our merry way. Single motherhood is the sirens, okay? So a lot of us are in this state of we've been disrupted. So what do? We pull over and we wait. We go into this place called the waiting room, okay? We're waiting for life to come back to the way it was. We're waiting to get remarried. We're waiting for the husband. We're waiting for our kids to grow up. We're waiting for all of this stuff to happen. And then we wonder why we're stuck. Why are we stuck? Because we're waiting. We're not doing anything. We don't realize that life as we know it is different. It's gone. It's not the same. So what do we have to do instead? So in design thinking, this is called disruption design. We're in a state of disruption in this paradigm where life as we know it has changed. We have to take ourselves out of the waiting room, okay? And instead we need to go into a place called the acceptance zone. So when we accept what has happened, what happens when you accept? You start thinking, you start asking questions, you start wondering, maybe this is okay, maybe I can pivot, maybe I can start prototyping a new design for my life, maybe I can start experimenting. That's where we want to be. That's where the successful single moms go. They don't sit in the waiting room. The ones sitting in the waiting room are the ones that aren't doing anything and they're just complaining. They're calcifying all of their shitty thoughts because they're, you know what I mean? Like the ex did this, I can't go anywhere, I can't do anything, so I'm just going to sit and wait and things. That's not by virtue of us being here and everyone who's watching, that's not us. But you know what I mean? When you do feel stuck, because we get that a lot, like I just feel stuck in life. Ask yourself, are you in the waiting room or are you in the acceptance zone where you're prototyping, where you're experimenting, where you're ideating? And these are all design thinking concepts. So, I think that's a powerful analogy for a single mom. Remember, sometimes it's appropriate, like when the sirens are behind us and we pull over and we wait and we let it pass, and sometimes that's great. But in a time of disruption, which is single parenthood, which is a health diagnosis, which is COVID, waiting in the waiting room is not what we want to do. It's disastrous. So, to leave you maybe with that idea of where am I waiting in life and where can I step into this zone of acceptance? And no, it's not fun. Robin Sharma talks about the messy middle. Nobody likes the acceptance zone, which is why they don't go there, which is why a lot of people aren't succeeding. But you have to take that step. And like we said at the top of the call, your initiation is by going into this place of uncertainty with certainty. That's what's going to get you to the next level. So that's what's going to get you unstuck. So I love that you brought up the sirens, and we could end on that little. I hope that means something to someone.
Invest in audacity, ladies. Please invest in audacity. Awesome. It's been so amazing chopping it up with you. Honestly, we need to do it again. And you are my sister from another mother. Honestly,
you are my sister too, and it's so cool that we're on the other sides of the planet.
Isn't God good, girl?
God's good. And we're gonna meet up in Dubai.
Yes, we're gonna meet up. Amen. Definitely. But have a wonderful evening. And guys, please check both of our platforms out. I'm on the Happy Single Moms podcast. and you're on the Single Parent Redefined. Honestly, we love you lot, and we just want to pour back into our community because we think that,
And thank you for spending your time.
Yeah.
You know, single moms, our
definitely.
time is so we appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yes, you can't buy your time in Target, and you spent it with us, so.
But I hope you learned something. I hope you learned something that makes even like a 1% shift. I know I did, right? Like I said, every time I'm with Khalifa, I'm like, yeah, there honestly, we go. I'm leveling up.
You are a badass. I love you. I love you. But yeah, thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening, guys. Or afternoon for you. Evening for me.
Yes. Now we know.
Take care.
Okay.